Welcome back to Slide Scholar. About 5 to 6 months ago, Disney would release a live-action remake that everyone thought would finally be good based on the trailers. But once they watched the full film, that excitement turned into disappointment in a very bad way. The topic is Disney's most divisive remake. The story behind Lilo and Stitch 2025. Prologue. It is the 21st of June 2002. Disney's new animated film, Lilo and Stitch, has hit theaters. Critics have lauded it for its story, humor, charm, and originality. With an $80 million production budget and a marketing campaign that emphasized its quirkiness, the film has been a huge success, grossing over $273 million worldwide. The film's success became a highlight of Disney's post-animation renaissance period in the 2000s, spawning a franchise that included 3 direct-video film sequels and 3 television series. Since its release, this film has left a deep impression on many people. One of its most iconic scenes is a heartwarming quote. Ohana means family, and family means no one is left behind. But one day, Part 1. A live-action adaptation is announced. On the 3rd of October 2018, it was announced that Walt Disney Pictures was developing a live-action and CGI remake of Disney's 2002 animated feature film, Lilo and Stitch. The film will be adapted by Mike Van Wey, with Dan Lin and Jonathan Eyrick serving as producers, and Ryan Halperin serving as co-producer. On 24th of October 2018, Van Wey revealed that he had begun work on the script for the remake. On the 14th of July 2022, Deadline Hollywood reported that Dean Fleischer-Camp had instead been chosen to direct, with Chris Kikano-Kanani Bright in negotiations to rewrite the script. Bright was officially confirmed as writer in February 2023. The day after Deadline Hollywood announced Fleischer Camp and Bright's involvement, Van Way tweeted a reference to a Deadline Hollywood article welcoming Fleischer Camp and Bright to the film, potentially suggesting he was still involved. This was later confirmed by the Writers Guild of America West, which listed both Bright and Van Way as writers on the film. The film's working title is Bad Dog, a reference to Stitch being mistaken for a dog and kept as a pet, while the new production company formed for the film is named Blue Koala Pictures, a reference to a character's typical appearance. In November 2022, it was reported that the film had begun casting calls. The initial call was tweeted by the Asia Pacific Entertainment Alliance on 22nd of November. In February 2023, Zach Galifianakis joined the cast in a then unannounced role. The Wrap reported at the time that he would voice Pleakley, but The Hollywood Reporter reported in April 2023 that Galifianakis had officially signed on to voice Dot Jumbo Zookeeper. In late March, Maya Kealoha was cast in the lead role of Lilo Pelikai. In April 2023, Billy Magnuson was cast as Agent Pleakley, and Sydney Agudo was cast as Nani Pelikai. Later that month, Kahayu Machado was cast as David Kawena and Courtney B. Vance as Cora Bubbles, although fans initially assumed the role Bubbles had been cut. Tia Carrere and Amy Hill, who had voiced the characters in the original film and its sequels, including Lilo and Stitch the series, were cast in new roles, and Sanders was in final negotiations to reprise his role as Stitch. Sanders ultimately completed 5 dubbing sessions near the end of production, each lasting approximately 4 hours. In a February 2025 interview, he stated that maintaining the Stitch voice for such a long time was difficult. The casting of Agudon and Machado sparked immediate social media controversy, with Disney and the film's casting crew accused of colorism and whitening due to the 2 actors' lighter skin tones than their original animated counterparts. Sydney Agudon is a mixed-race woman born and raised on Kauai, the main setting of the franchise, with a Caucasian mother and a Filipino-Hawaiian father. Agudong's Instagram account received abusive comments for accepting the role. After internet users discovered that Machado had previously used racist slang on his Spotify and Instagram accounts, Disney recast him with Capo de Doigt. Machado subsequently apologized for his previous use of slang on Instagram on 27th of April 2023. Filming ultimately began on the 1st of May 2023, although a portion of Kainai Highway was closed that day for production purposes. The Penakai House was temporarily constructed in the area where the Kualoa Ranch manager lives. The real-life luau, Jermaine's, was rebranded as the fictional Jimmy's Luau in the film. The Kahala Hotel and Resort served as the fictional Humalua Resort and Spa. Filming was suspended in July 2023 due to the writer's strike. It eventually resumed in February 2024 and wrapped in early March of the same year. The live-action stage design was first revealed at the D23 convention on 9th of August 2024. Screen Rant and Collider responded positively to the announcement.
Disney's magical mark on the world of entertainment spans over 100 years. 100 years? Takeover. Is that who our baby is? We do have people good. Okay, great. He's not gonna make it. Well, please remain in your seats. Everything is under control. Oh, no, wait, don't get it. This looks like a room you should not be in. No, don't touch. Are we back? Language. Now is as good a time as any to announce that live-action Lilo and Stitch is coming to theaters summer 2020.
On the 8th of November 2024, at D23 in Brazil, Disney released a still from the film, showing Stitch wearing a lei and gazing at an unfocused Lilo on a bed. The official trailer was released on the 12th of March 2025, Lilo and Stitch creator Chris Sanders' 63rd birthday, and featured the first appearance of several characters other than Stitch. Following the trailer's release, Lilo and Stitch became the #1 trending topic on X, Twitter, YouTube, and Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, reached #1 on Douyin within an hour of its release. On the 14th of March, Disney announced that the trailer had been viewed 158 million times within 24 hours, making it the second most viewed live-action film trailer of the company in a 24-hour period, behind only the teaser trailer for The Lion King 2019, which had 224.6 million views in the same period. Rather than receiving the usual negative initial reaction, the remake even elicited positive comments. For the first time, people were hoping for a remake that was 100% faithful to the animated classic. Unfortunately, that was not to be. Part 2: Disaster. The live-action version of Lilo and Stitch would finally be released in theaters on 23rd of May 2025. But what has the reaction been like? Was it positive? Yes, it was. It received mixed reviews from critics, but was a huge box office success, and well received by audiences. Many critics called it a faithful but ultimately unnecessary remake, but audiences praised it for its faithfulness to the original. The film has a critic score of 72% and an audience score of 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, indicating very mixed reviews. Audiences have generally received it favorably, giving it an A on CinemaScore. Audience reviews have largely praised the cast, particularly newcomers Mike Hiloa as Lilo and Sydney Gudong as Nani. Many longtime fans were pleased with the film's faithful retelling of the original story and its respect for its core message. Some critics felt that the remake, while well-intentioned, struggled to recreate the magic and emotional depth of the original film. Complaints included a thin storyline and unnecessary new characters. Some critics felt the remake was empty compared to the original. While the film received mixed reviews from critics, it was generally well received by the general public. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the internet. While the general public found it to be a heartfelt and moving piece, many online viewers found it to be quite the opposite. The movie was panned online. No one liked it at all. Reasons ranged from the absence of Captain Gantu, completely not cross-dressing, to Jumper's character being a total mess. But the thing people hated the most about the movie was the ending. To understand why, let's have a comparison between the original film and the live-action adaptation. In the original animated film, the Grand Councilwoman arrives to retrieve Stitch herself and fires Gantu for engaging Lilo and failing to capture Stitch. After observing Stitch's well-mannered behavior and learning that Lilo has legal ownership of Stitch because she bought him from an animal shelter, the Grand Councilwoman decrees that Stitch live in exile on Earth and that the Pelikai family be placed under protection of the Galactic Federation. Bubbles reveals that he is a former CIA agent and met the Grand Councilwoman in Roswell, New Mexico in 1973. Stitch, Jumper, and Pleakley reunite with Lilo and Nari's family and rebuild their home with the help of David and Bubbles. In the remake, Nani and David rescue Lilo, but Lilo refuses to leave Stitch behind. David brings Lilo back to shore, and Nani swims to rescue Stitch from the ocean floor. They reach shore, but Stitch is unconscious. Bubbles finds Pleakley and reunites with the group, and David revives Stitch by administering an electric shock to his lungs. Shortly thereafter, Grand Councilwoman arrives and rearrests Jumper. Seeing Stitch's change of heart, she decides to exile him to Earth with his newfound Ohana family. Grand Councilwoman vows to stay in contact, and Pleakley goes to live with the Pelikai family to keep an eye on Stitch. Okay, now, I'd like you to pay close attention to the final line of this paragraph. It will give a hint as to why the ending was where it was. When the Pelikai, Stitch, and their friends return home, Gakora informs Nani that he has given guardianship of Lilo to David and Tutu, and that Nani can stay in the house. Ohana repairs the house and lives happily ever after. This change sparked a wave of negative reactions, especially from people who had experienced similarly difficult family situations as Lilo and Nani themselves, and who felt deeply attached to the original film and its message. While we knew Nani hadn't actually abandoned Lilo, after all, she returned home with Portugal in the end credits scene, it still felt like a violation of the meaning of family. This soon spawned countless memes, some of the most popular of which are Ohana means abandoning your little sister to follow your dreams. Ohana means foster care. The director, Dean Fleischer camp, responding to the backlash, saying, "People do get left behind." Unfortunately, things didn't get any better, as many people disagreed with what he said shortly afterwards. Cartoon critic Matt Brunette, aka EllisDragon505, Animat, then found himself in the crosshairs of hateful comments for his review of the film, with some people accusing him of being out of touch with the film, especially since in a previous podcast he claimed the backlash was exaggerated. Additionally, YouTuber Beanie Bryan had allegedly sent a death threat to one of the film's screenwriters on Twitter, saying, "Whoever wrote this remake needs to get shot." The actor who played the ice cream man in the film, David Hakili Kanui Bell, sadly passed away just 3 weeks after the film's release. Just when he thought things couldn't get any worse, things got worse. Eventually, people started saying that he died because the movie was so bad. Despite overwhelmingly positive reviews from general audiences, the film was roundly panned online, which is why I still consider it the most divisive remake, with Snow White 2025 being the most controversial. Epilogue. Despite overwhelming controversy, the film was a huge success, grossing $1.038 billion in the box office against a $100 million production budget, and its success has led to a green light for a sequel, which is set to be released in 2027. No plot details were revealed beyond a confirmation that it won't doubt the direct video sequels. But those who had hated the first film were very worried that the sequel would be even worse. At the time of writing, filming is scheduled to begin next year, in 2026. Will the sequel be able to fix these mistakes, or are the criticisms of this remake overblown? We'll just have to wait and see how the next story unfolds. This was Slide Scholar. Till next time.